Amid the backdrop of the pandemic, racism and violence against Asian American and Pacific Islander community has dramatically increased over the past year.
The number of hate crimes in major cities rose nearly 150% in 2020 compared to the year before.
Between March 2020 through February 2021, nearly 3,800 hate incidents ranging from verbal slurs to physical attacks were reported against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders nationwide. While hate crimes for other minorities have decreased, those for the Asian American community have increased by 1,500% over the last year.
Asian women have also been disproportionately targeted in acts of anti Asian violence. 2 out of 3 incidents that were reported involved Asian women. While there has rightfully been a lot of, but still not enough media coverage about Asian elders attacked and killed on the street, the Stop AAPI Hate Report revealed that 65% of reported attacks were of people between the ages of 26 and 60, and 68% were female.
It is important to note that these are the only incidents that have been reported to the center and do not include the number of AAPI hate incidents that have actually occurred. The increase has also been fueled by the pandemic, by rhetoric like referring to the coronavirus as China virus or Chinese virus or Kung flu.
With the pandemic being used to scapegoat Asian Americans by those who seek to weaponize the fear of those who look, sound, and act foreign, Asian Americans now have a target on our backs. We need help, and we need people to speak out and stand up against racism.
Silence is not an option, and allyship needs to be more than a hashtag. Now, more than ever, it is important to take action, support the AAPI community, and join the fight to end the rampant racism in this country. Here are some key ways that you can aid the communities, from donating to organizing.
To be an ally for racial justice, the first step is to educate ourselves on the history of anti Asian racism and understand how stereotypes, racial bias, and xenophobia have been impacting the well being of the AAPI community.
If you are witnessing a hate incident, actively listen to the person who has been targeted and ask before taking any actions.
More than 30% of the incidents reported took place on either a public street or a public park. So if you see something, you can report it to groups like Stop AAPI Hate.
The group Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAJC, also has a 1-hour virtual training that teaches the 5 strategies for intervening: distract, delegate, document, delay, and direct, and how to prioritize your own safety while intervening.
There are also local grassroots justice organizations and mutual aid efforts to lend support in different communities.
Speak out and check in. We cannot understate the importance for people to stand in solidarity against anti-Asian violence on social media while also bringing more attention to the issue.
Help create awareness via social media, day to day conversations, or within your community.
Call out racist language. Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance suggests trying something like, "I don't get it. Can you explain why that's funny?" They also offer a more direct response to COVID-related anti-Asian racism. That's not funny, and it's not how the virus actually works. The more we talk about what's going on, the more we can educate others and influence the community to make changes. Check in on your AAPI neighbors and friends and let them know that they have your support, and to acknowledge anti-Asian racism. A simple note, or a text, or a call could be a very simple way of showing support.
For those of us in the Asian community, we often feel like we are unseen, unheard, and our pain is invisible. Asians have had a harder time proving racism, in a large part because, in general, people still don't know the history and struggles of Asian Americans.
Donate if you can to groups like Stop AAPI Hate, Asian Americans Advancing Justice League, and the National Asian American Pacific Islander Mental Health Association. Educate yourself.
The AAPI community has faced a painful history of racism that dates back to the 19th century, including the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 that prevented Chinese workers from entering the country. Read about the struggles of why AAPIs continue to be minimized, or why AAPIs as a whole are seen as a community that doesn't experience racism.
Don't be a bystander. Many people aren't sure how to respond if they witness microaggressions, discrimination, or racism in action. Equip yourself with the right resources. Remember, everyone can do something. At this point in our history, it is even more important that we show up for one another as active bystanders.
The fight for equity must continue, and anti-racism needs to be the norm in society.
This is only the beginning. Now is not the time to be silent, but the time to demand justice.
This is an everyday issue, and it needs to be an everyday fight. Continue to educate yourself and stand up against AAPI hate.